show, everyone. As you all know, I made it possible for everybody to talk about themselves. And I always say, who doesn't like talking about themselves? Right on the radio for everybody to hear what you do. You can check me out on my website, networkingarizona.net, and see all the plethora of people that have been on. My first guest that I have on today has been on with me for, it's over 6 years now. I don't remember how long, maybe even 7. I have with me Mike Van Vleck, and he is the owner of Denali Real Estate. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, and welcome back to my show.
And so I just had a birthday.
Oh,
so.
You know what you did? Happy birthday.
No, I didn't say it like that. I was just kidding.
You are.
But so Denali Real Estate is an Arizona licensed real estate brokerage. We focus on residential real estate all around the valley. We cover all of Phoenix and also all of Tucson. So for folks that are, it's a couple components. If you're looking to potentially invest in real estate, if you need someone to help you manage that process, find tenants and things like that, we do property management. And then for folks that are looking to sell, we do that as well.
Okay, so I want to talk today. What you love to do is sort of educate this, the public out there. That's something right. that you do love doing. And I love that about you. I really do, because there isn't anyone, I know a lot of people, right?
I know you do.
And
everyone knows you.
Yeah, I know Carol t-shirts. I'll have to get you one. So honestly, here's the thing about what I love about you the most is that because you want to educate so much, you want to help people, you want to help them possibly even if they want to do it on themselves, but you also are here to help them make it so easy. The way that you run your business is so different than other people out there, and I want you to explain that.
Well, I think one of the things that at least I keep in mind is the reality that anybody investing in real estate, it's a significant investment. Whether you're buying your first home or a home your family will live in, or investing in real estate for an investment, the amounts that you invest are significant, right? It's not like you can go and put $100 or $1,000 in the stock market. It requires more money than that. So anytime that happens, it's important to educate yourself on the options, things that you might want to consider. So I approach it with that in mind, realizing that this is a significant thing for folks, and so many people today are really just yearning for information, but more direct, right? Of course, we can go on Google and wade through the sea of information on there, but it's very difficult because you can't ask Google repeated questions over and over and get answers like you can talking to me, for example. So I think the direct and more pinpointed information is what we're all looking for. So I try to be that in that way. Like, hey, you can call us, ask questions, we'll walk you through it. The idea, at least in the beginning, is let's give you that information so that you can make the right decision for you. Like I had a call this morning and they had a couple of different options. So I walked them through those options, and as it turned out, some of those options have nothing to do with us. It's like, this is something you might want to consider, this is why, and here's the merits of that potential option, and here's why you might want to think about that.
Well, first of all, too, you want to think about this because the information that you get here, you can't get this kind of information from other people. Okay, first of all, they're not going to indulge it. That's number one.
True story.
Okay?
So most people, if you call for this information, it's more of a sales pitch, right? It's going to be, how do I get this person to sign up with us or do whatever? I don't approach it that way. I find by actually doing it the other way, I enjoy it more, and people have a better experience.
Absolutely. Today you want to talk about certain things. I got here, the first one is current resale and new build market. I don't think I've ever even talked to you about that.
No, we haven't. So we usually talk about property management things or investing things and giving people tips on how they can approach it in the marketplace, whether it be important things to put in your lease agreement, or how do you hire a property manager, right, or those kinds of things. I thought today, being where we are in the real estate market, it would be more relevant to talk about what is actually happening in the real estate market today.
What's happening in the real estate market today?
It's actually pretty insane. If you are, and you would know this if you're in Arizona and you're looking for a home to buy, you realize that it's incredibly competitive right now. Homes are selling for prices way beyond list. It used to be in California, for example, it's very common to have what's called an auction process. You put a house on the market and you let people just bid it up. The highest bidder wins. We've never had that here. We've always had bargain hunters in Arizona, where they're always expecting to get it on sale. It's
That's Arizona for you.
It just is.
It is.
So we've always been resistant to that auction style of purchase, where it's like, I always want to get it on sale. In other words, if a home is listed for $300, I want $290. I want $280. I want something off the list price, so I get it on sale. And I think that's a very important psychological difference between us and other markets. Well, that's not the case anymore. Homes in Arizona, if you're trying to buy a home, you're likely going to have to pay at least what the list price is, at least, if not more. And that's tough for a lot of home buyers out there trying to buy for the first time.
It is absolutely tough, and what's really tough is when you got so many people that you go look at home, and maybe you just want to think about it just for a little bit.
No.
You can't think. There's no thinking anymore.
Okay, so I listed a house yesterday. I'm going to give full transparency. I'm not going to give the address, but I'm going to say, in my opinion, I did all the research to figure out what I thought this house was worth. I talked to my client and I said, look, I think this house is worth $290,000 to $300,000. I think that's the best possible scenario. And I said, well, he was like, well, maybe we'll get $280,000. We'll try. So we listed it at $320,000, and this was yesterday afternoon. So it has not been 24 hours, maybe 12 hours, whatever it has been. I don't know how many offers we have. At least 7 or 8 so far, and there could be more.
And that's in the middle of the night that you're getting them.
They're rolling in.
Right.
And so I had, within posting it, I had like 3 people wanting to go see it within 20 minutes.
Wow.
And so far, I haven't even reviewed the offers. All I know is I have at least one over 330. And this has a house I think is worth 300, so it's 10% over for sure. And what people are doing is they're saying, I'm going to waive the appraisal. Like, in other words, even if the bank comes in and says the house is worth 300, I'm still going to buy it at 330. I'm going to pay the difference in between the appraisal and the value. They're also waiving inspections, so they're saying I'm not going to ask for any repairs. I just want the house.
They want the house. Why do they? What is the reason?
Well, I think when you get to a market like this, and there's...
Is it because the interest rates are just so low that they want to get it at that price?
Well, not necessarily. I think the issue is supply, right? So we don't have enough homes on the market than what we need. So there's a big... For example, in average, we need something like 1.62 million new doors per year.
Start building.
In the country. Mm-hmm. So that's a big number. We actually produce about 1.3 million. So every year we have this 300,000 door shortage across the country, mind you. And that creates, over a longer periods of time, a big, huge gap. You also take into consideration, there's a lot of first-time home buyers out there that are now entering the market because the interest rates are so low. So it creates competition. Lastly, you take COVID. There are lots of, and I don't like to talk about these weird trends because I don't think they apply consistently, but on my end, I'm seeing a lot of people moving from what I would call highly oppressed states like California, where they're on these huge lockdowns, and they say, well, I can sell my house. I get to work from home anyway, get a bunch of money for the house I own there, come and pay cash here. If I pay cash $330 and it's worth $300, do I care? Because I still end up with a bunch of money in my pocket.
I hear you. You know what? I'm from California, and I have to be honest. I sort of did the same thing in 1994 when we lost our house in the earthquake. We came here. We thought, wow, we were saving money.
Totally.
Because it's different in California than it is here.
It is.
We don't look for discounts, but anyway. So you can call him direct. His number is 480-626-4062. His website is DenaliArizona.com. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute. So we're going to continue talking something different today. Got all your money here now that everybody's
That's where I
seeing
went
it on
was, how is it going to
Facebook.
upgrade?
They're going to
It's
come
not on
after
there.
you.
It's off. This is my thing's right there.
Oh, good. But it is on over there, just so that you know. But it's okay.
I'm poor. I'm broke.
What were you going to say?
But that's fast, right? It's only 15
Yeah.
minutes.
Oh,
That was
yeah,
in your
no,
type
I know.
15.
I was listening to everything you were saying and I don't work in the real estate industry, but have played there and one of those kind of sponges. So I was thinking, how are they going to appraise? I was like dying to ask you that question, but of course couldn't. And then you said people are waiving the appraisal, which to me is insane. But as soon as you pay that price, you've got your comp now, so it doesn't matter. So now it's automatically worth that.
It does, but so
because
that
it benefits
comp,
the next sale in the
but that
neighborhood.
comp could be just considered an outlier. So an appraiser will see that's cash,
Normally.
no appraisal. They'll take that into consideration. So they won't let the market just skyrocket like that.
So the question that I have to ask you, because we're still live on Facebook right now, okay? When we are turning this back to you, how do I do that? In other words, okay, do you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's interesting. All of this is about great information for them, but how do you want me to turn it back to you?
So the whole idea about this
Right.
is that at the end we'll turn it back
That's
towards
what I wanna know.
the rental market
Okay, good.
and
So,
how
yeah,
to
exactly.
navigate it.
That's what I want to know. I kind of thought you were to say that, but I want to make sure. Okay. Okay.
So this concept of, in my opinion, paying out of your pocket for over appraisal is a problem. This isn't the same market as before, but it's a problem. And so I think the theory is, in this type of market, it might actually be better to hang tight and go rent a home.
Right. There we go.
And there's a reason why. And that is because the prices of houses have gone up substantially, more than incomes, and we'll talk about that, but rents have not. Rents have still gone up, but the home prices are going like this and rents are going like this. So it might be better to hang tight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
hear you.
mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So it just depends. It just depends.
Yeah. Well, the person that's coming here wants to come here for a different reason than the person that there are people though that are moving here because of the jobs and things like that.
Or it's new freedom now because many people are working from home and they couldn't before. So
Right.
really, where
Totally
do I
agree.
want to go live?
Right.
I don't
The
have to
idea
stay.
behind this
Yeah.
conversation is to talk about the euphoria and to make it come back to fundamentals.
Right.
There's fundamentals of what to do and how to stick to it that I think that's ultimately where we'll go. We're going to go to like the current rental market. We'll talk
Right.
about that.
We're going to go to that next.
And we'll just talk about this a couple and then just how to navigate
What?
is when we get to this last one, we'll do that like the last 5
Okay.
minutes.
So welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Michael Van Vleck. He is the owner of Denali Real Estate, and we've been talking a little bit about how crazy this market is right now with homes going crazy up and down. We've also been talking with Facebook during the break. And we're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to share the show afterwards. But what I want to do is talk a little bit about, I had asked you, why are we talking about this so much?
Sure.
And how I was going to bring it back to Michael Van Vleck.
Right. Well, so I think the big idea here is to talk about what's happening in the market, what are the things that people are doing, and then to really circle back and talk about more fundamentals. Like, we talked a little bit in the beginning about the resale market and what's happening there. I think if you don't look to buy a home, then potentially you might want to rent a home. So we can talk about the current rental market as well. So while home prices, since 2012 across the nation, home prices are up about 60%. That's a good amount. Incomes, only 20%. So home prices are greatly outstripping incomes, right? Also, though, when you consider rents have gone up about 30% over the same period of time. So only half of the gain. Now, the reason I mention that is in cases where you're in a position where you don't want to compete with these other folks. You don't want to say, I want to waive an appraisal, or I want to pay $30,000 or $50,000 more than the house is worth. It may be prudent to just hang tight where you are or potentially rent a home. If you're a first-time home buyer, it's very hard to compete in the marketplace. Maybe stay with your parents still. 52%, by the way, there's a reason I say that, 52% of 18 to 29-year-olds still live at home. Okay, 52%. Now, if you think over the next 10 years, those are potential home buyers.
Absolutely. Look what happened with COVID. Okay, COVID brought a lot of people home, right?
It sure did.
Some of them didn't have places to go, so they moved home. And I know somebody 65 living at home.
So the point is, in the euphoria, it may be best to just hang tight and let the smoke clear, or potentially go into the rental market. Now, rents have continued to go up, in our greater Phoenix area over the last year. So I'm going to give you a couple stats. In Surprise, they've gone up 15%, Peoria 12, Mesa 11, Chandler 9. Like, these are all rents increasing. This says Gilbert 6. I probably would disagree that Gilbert is at least a double digit as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea, though, is rents are continuing to go up, and I expect that would likely to continue, but they're still not going at the same pace as the sales market, right? And sales, the other difference is when you rent a home, you usually are renting it on an annual basis. You sign a 1-year lease. When you buy a home, you're buying a 30-year mortgage, right? Or 15 at the best, and you have to ride it out. And for example, there are instances where in situations like this, when people overbuy, at some point it could come back down. Mm-hmm. So if you are buying a home, I would recommend that you're doing it in a position where you're long-term, right? If your time horizon is 2, 3, 4 years, that's usually not, in my opinion, real estate in general is not a good speculative type investment. I always recommend invest for cash flow, right? So that means you care about cash flow, the appreciation takes care of itself over time. Mm-hmm. If you are getting a certain amount of rent that makes that investment viable, then that's fine. But if you're considering, oh gosh, I'm going to buy this house because it's going to go up 20% in the next year, probably not a smart decision.
Well, we do have a lot of investors that do listen to the station, and you know, you have property out there, you handle that with them, and you can handle that for them. But I also want to talk a little bit about the renters, because we're talking about renters today. You know, a little bit about possibly, you know, maybe renting as opposed to buying right now. So I want to talk about how you work with your renters, because still a lot of people say, well, I have to live at home because my credit was shot. I'll never be able to get into, you know, and how you kind of work with people.
Well, so in our case, when somebody applies for one of our rental homes, we do it on a first come, first served basis. We always want to be on the up and up. We don't pick people out of a lineup and pick and choose. It's first come, first served. We have a criteria to rent. So it outlines what do you need to qualify for to rent this home. It's all transparent. We don't charge anybody application fees to apply for any of our homes, which I think everybody does, because I want people to be able to apply and not have to feel like they're losing money or getting charged something just to have somebody look at their stuff. I think it's a total ripoff. So, you know, if you are going through in terms of the rental market, the best thing I could say is work quickly. Make sure that when you fill out an application, you do it completely. And always when you submit it, follow up with the management company or owner and say, look, I've submitted it. I just want to make sure that you received it. That way you know your stuff is in there.
Now they can go to your website. Is that how they do that, to find homes and things like that?
They certainly can. Or in some cases, you know, you can go, I always recommend, they can go to our website. And I get that. It's DenaliArizona.com. I think the easiest place to go is where you can get tons of listings like a Zillow, a Trulia, a HotPads, Realtor.com, MLS.com. Any of those will give you not just ours, but everyone. They give you a big, huge swath of potential things to pick from.
Right. Okay. So, but if they want to work with you because you work differently than other people, how would they do that when they go there?
Well, if they want to look at what we have available specifically, they would just go to our website.
Well, it's easy. It's DenaliArizona.com. You can also call them. The phone number is 480-626-4062.
I did want to point out a couple things. I think because this is, to me, this is a huge anomaly, which we've talked about people from California moving here and people trying to escape California. And it's like, okay, well, Mike, what kind of evidence do you have of that? Well, I can tell you this.
I'm 100% evidence of it.
Well, you are, but I want to talk about more recently. So,
okay.
For in this year, for the past year, San Francisco rents have decreased by 24% in the last year. So San Francisco, as you know, I mean, they don't have a huge amount of shortage, but rents there have decreased 24%.
I know why, though.
San Jose, 14.7%. Oakland, 22%. You know, if you look at some of these areas in California,
and we're saying going down, not up.
Going down,
right? And I think there's reasons for that, though, right?
So that with that, you can see also what's funneling not just our rental market and our resale market is that sort of exodus, not just from California, but other states as well. Now, the reality, though, is, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. If you're trying to buy a home, the reality is that interest rates are expected to remain low. That's going to likely continue to funnel the resale market here. Inventory of homes is still going to probably be limited. We're still not making enough homes for the demand, especially now. Rental prices will continue to go up, and I think you could probably expect that buyers are going to continue to put big down payments down. They're going to continue to waive appraisals and inspections until we fix the supply issue.
And it's going to get worse because even as COVID gets better, right?
Well, it really depends. If you currently own property, then you're going to not think that it's going to get worse. You're saying, oh gosh, these
Well,
home
I'm glad I
prices-
did what I did, right?
Right. So, I mean, I think if you're looking to buy a home for your family for a 30-year time, then the timing doesn't really matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to buy a home, your family's going to live in it, then fine. If you're doing it for investment purposes, it's all about the cash flow.
Well,
So-
you also can talk to anybody about that. That's something that you love to do. His phone number direct, it's 480-626-4062, Denali, Arizona.com. We have a couple of minutes here, so which one do you want to do?
Well, what I would say is if you're in a position where you're looking to invest in residential real estate, I think that there's a few ways that we can navigate you through that. So if somebody, a listener, is interested in that, they can call us. Our number is 480-626-4062, and I'm happy to walk them through, give them some options, at least to help them navigate the Phoenix market and the Tucson market if that's relevant to them. We have investors that own property in different states as well, so it really just depends on their proximity in terms of what makes the most sense for them.
You know, Michael is all about arming you with information to let you make the best, qualified decisions that would be
Absolutely.
best for you.
And we approach our property management that way as well. I had a call with an owner yesterday who has a Tucson home, and we were discussing some strategies for his current renter. And I told him this at the end of the conversation. I said, look, I'm not going to make decisions for you, but I'm going to give you lots of options and throw out things that you may not be thinking of. And he's like, you actually gave me a ton of different things I never even thought of. My last property manager never even mentioned this. And I did get an email from him a short bit ago where he actually took some of those recommendations and said, Mike, this is how I want to proceed forward.
Isn't that cool? I mean, and when you work with people, don't you love when people are listening and they're like, wow, that's really awesome, and you help them, and it makes you feel good, they feel good. It's a win-win.
It can be, right? I think if you have it set up the right way, it can be. In our case, I think the big differentiator for us is the owner is always in control. We don't do anything without them. They always get to make the decisions, and we do all the work.
The phone number to call them is 480-626-4062, Denali, Arizona.com.